Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm the Grim Reader, and I bring to you today a chatty video about all the things that have gone wrong on this trip. Not just to complain, but that was fun. I'm getting ready to drink a little shot of ginger with apple juice and passion fruit. I love these little shots. It's actually pretty big. It's like almost like a juice. I now live in a room that features a fish TV thing, fish aquarium on the television, and it's a hotel room. It's a nice room, and one of the good things about the room is it has a bed that I can sleep on, because up until I came to this room, I've been sleeping on sofas of different kinds for different reasons. So buckle up. I'm in that kind of mood. I'm on steroids because of pain, and this is what happens when I have to take the steroids. I get a little hyper in a good way because the pain is less. And I think I'm going to pause it to open the drink because I cannot do that without making a mess on camera. So I'll be right back. The drink is very gingery, very gingery, but I mean, that's good. I like ginger. I think it's good for me. Also, I think I need vitamin D. I might need to go out and get some from the apotheker, the chemist, the pharmacy. So let's begin with the litany of things that have gone wrong on this trip. And I'm looking at my little diary here. So we left Germany. We left for the airport on Tuesday, May 18th. Sorry for the ad stuff. I should turn it off. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you see where I'm at. In May, hope it's not too distracting. It's gonna go back to fishies in a minute. And we were all excited, as one is, before 7 weeks of travel. And the first entry in my thing is on Tuesday, so the time when we were supposed to be in Germany or on the plane, it says, "Why are we in Kentucky?" Because that's where we were. We got to the airport on the 18th, and our flight to Chicago had been canceled due to weather in Chicago. Our flight was canceled, and we got a new flight on the next day. My main worry is that we will miss our connection because there was not enough room for us to get from one terminal to the other terminal, which I know we would have to do in Chicago. It was barely an hour, and I don't walk well. So it set off all my typical anxieties. Hopefully all will go well. Hope springs eternal. We had an okay night in the stupid Holiday Inn there in Kentucky, Florence, I guess. There were things wrong with it. The dinner was weird and stupid. It was weird. And then the breakfast was actually really nice. And there were nice people at the buffet. It was actually really tasty. And they all had names of places. So in my journal, I wrote London, Tennessee, and Orlando. That's the breakfast buffet gang at the Holiday Inn in Florence. And they were good. They were the best part of the stay. In the course of the night and morning, I got so worried about this connection issue. And the fact is that I'd booked for him at least, Bill, a ticket that's not changeable, which will never do again, because this is kind of part of and I think mine was changeable, but maybe it wasn't. So I, in my eternal non-wisdom, went in. Since I couldn't change the tickets, I thought, well, what about miles or whatever? And I was surprised I was able to change both of our flights to an earlier flight to Chicago on my own without a lot of money, very little money, and, some miles. I did use up some miles, but it was around 15 or 12 or $10 to change it. So whoopity-doo. I changed our connection flight to Chicago to much earlier, instead of 4 to about 2 p.m. and our flight to Germany was 6 p.m. because I wanted to avoid the rush. But I should have realized this. I did not. It caused our the mess up in itineraries. You can't, if you change your itinerary, they think you didn't show up or something. And it's as if now we had two separate itineraries. We had the one to Chicago, and then we had the old one to Frankfurt, and there were two different numbers. And so I don't even know what happened, but we realized that might be a problem. That they may think if we weren't on the first leg of our original itinerary, they might think we're not there. So we went to the airport more after the okay breakfast in the early next day on Wednesday now, and talked to the people. And he did change us. He said, "Okay, that's fine. I see what you've done here. I'll change you and connect the new one that you booked yourself on to the original flight to Germany." So he did that pretty well. The issue was the bag, my checked bag, didn't get changed, which meant it didn't arrive. And we'll get into that, all the problems that caused. Travel is hard, I wrote here on the Thursday after we had made it to Germany. And we did actually like the first place quite a bit. And it's in a quite nice area of Germany, but it is a bit of it's sort of on the tail. It's sort of maybe even ungentrifying a little bit. It's coming a little bit, the area is becoming a little bit more gritty than it used to be. So you have occasionally, we had a run-in, a pretty unusual run-in, and I felt bad for her, a homeless person, so I felt bad for her. On the other hand, she had decided to sleep right at the entrance of our door. On our very first trip to the supermarket, we came back and she was right there. And we were tired and we were jet-lagged and she was just lying there. And on the one hand, I felt sorry for her. On the other hand, I just couldn't deal with her. So we just kind of stepped over her. And it was just sort of like is this a bad omen? What is this? I feel bad for her, but it's sort of also feel bad for us. And I texted the guy and he's like, no, it's very unusual. Don't want, please, I'm so sorry that you had to sort of encounter this. Because I thought, well, maybe it's a sign that this area has become more urban and it's just something you have to deal with. Like in certain areas, we know you have to deal with this issue. But I think it was an aberration that just kind of, it did get worse a little bit because she was at the door. And then when Bill went out later to go out again, she decided to take the elevator up. She shouldn't have been inside the building anyway. She asked to be let in and we didn't let her in because she didn't live there. But she managed to get in and she was sleeping almost outside our door. And then, so that was fine. We got over that. And then the next day, Wiesbaden in that area is going through an arson attack where someone has been setting fire to these big trash cans, not just normal trash cans, but the ones that you have in German apartments, plastic, full of trash. And one of the ones in front of our apartment was one that they had targeted, and it was just gross. And so I see this the next day and like, where are we? But all of that kind of now, even that it's like, okay, because we actually did like that place quite a bit. We had a good time there. The only issue there was the bed issue and sleeping. I have such weird sleeping. I don't sleep well because of all my issues. I decided to just camp out on the sofa every night and Bill got the bed. And I could have tried to fight for it being the other way around, but I didn't really want to. I didn't actually mind that sofa, and I knew it was sort of okay because I was looking forward to my apartment. We'll get to that in a minute. And so we had a good time there in general, and we went on our trips, and we both got a little bit sick. So, other issues happened. Bill got sick when we took the boat on one day to a town called Rudesheim, and we came back, and poor Bill was so sick that he had to vomit in the middle of the street because he couldn't help it. It was hot, and he'd had something bad to eat or just didn't feel well. So, yeah, there was that incident. And he was a bit sick the next day. And so there were a couple of times when we both just had to just not do anything, which was fine because we had the apartment and we had the cute little supermarket that we really liked, have it right down there next to our place. It was fun for Bill to go look at stuff. He really had a good time actually doing that, I think. And so what else there? Nothing bad else happened there. It was and then, of course, we had the party and everything. And the wedding was all fine. So there's good stuff too, So come the day that we moved to, he flies. Oh no, but I forgot one thing that I wanted to add for that one. During this whole time, a stranger but a nice man had decided we were paying him to look after our 4 cats, including Shirley, who has diabetes, and he had said he would try and give her shots twice a day. But he started to do that, and she was so upset with him doing that, she stopped eating, and she had an incident, either glucose too much or too low, I can't remember which. And he wrote quickly one day, Shirley is very sick, I'm taking her to the vet. And the vet called us, and we had quite a bit of chats with the vet while we were in Germany, doing a lot of fun stuff. And he was really worried about her at one night. He's like, he was afraid that she wouldn't make it. She was that ill. She did make it. She pulled through for quite a bit of money. She had to stay at the vet for some days. And even the whole time when she came back, our caretaker didn't give her the shots because we thought it's better for her to be chronically ill with diabetes than have some kind of trauma. Because the whole time after when she came back, she basically hid from him with her sister Laverne. They're very shy. But that was better than, or less traumatic for her than to be given shots by a stranger. She hated that. And I kind of knew she would. It was, in retrospect, that was not a good idea. But the doctors had said to us she needs her shots regardless. And I sort of think maybe we should have just disregarded that and have her just eat her food. So, which it also meant that she was separate from the others in her room. She was like imprisoned in my bedroom. So yeah, that was a big worry as well while we were on our trip. Poor Shirley almost almost didn't make it. I love my Shirley. I don't even want to think about it. And I'm so glad he's back now because he's back. Look, and he shows me the pictures of her and she still looks kind of sad. I feel like I'll be so happy when I get back to her. Anyway, don't focus on the cats too much. So let's see, where are we? We're at the time when he flew home. His flight home was really, really painless and worked really well. He's back there doing his thing, looking after the kitties. Now there's a policeman walking by, or interesting people walking by. Well, a security guy. And he looks kind of like police. Anywho, sorry, distracted by my window. And it's pretty quiet. I don't know what's going on here on Monday. So I move into my place, and it's the beautiful building that I will put up the footage that I have of the outside of it. I'm not going to show you much of the inside, but that's when actually the real problems began, because there were a few issues with the apartment. The big main issue, and the reason why I left early and paid a buttload of money, well, some extra money to stay here instead of there, the bed was trash. It was, but the minute I sat down on it after she left, and she did a very, very cursory introduction, unlike the first guy, she didn't show me where the trash was. She just wanted to get out of there, this lady. I sat down on the bed, I'm like, whoa, because you just sort of, it was like a hammock almost. You sank right down. There was no support whatsoever. And I'm like, this is not going to be good for my back. I tried it the first night and it was awful because I felt like I was in a hammock the whole time, and it was just very uncomfortable. And then I inspected the mattress, and it was just this piece of foam zipped into something, one of these stupid beds they have here. But then I lifted up the first mattress and there were terrible stains on the underneath thing. At the top of one end, at the bottom of the other, really bad stains. And even the topper that they put on was old and dingy and stained. And there was a thin old sheet on top. And I'm like, this is gross. I'm in this beautiful building. I'm paying pretty good money to sleep here. And this bed is S ... And so there too, I ended up sleeping on their sofa. And I had already had one interaction with the husband, because the shutters were broken in the bedroom. And at that point I was thinking I still wouldn't mind opening that window and looking out. So, and it turned out you can fix it by just adjusting it. My sister showed how you can deal with a broken shutter. But before I knew that, I did call him, and he was extremely unhelpful and unprofessional and rude. He was just sort of whiny about the shutters. He's like, oh, I'll have to get someone in. And he said something like, these are all condos. I'm like, yeah, what? So whatever. I don't care about that. I assumed for a while it was their condo. No. These are, I found out from a little bit of research, I think there are a couple who make their money through various means, including administering kind of Airbnb type places, but not in a way that I find unprofessional. I've never had this kind of an interaction with the manager of a place that I've stayed in. Never. He was terrible. He's a terrible person, in my opinion. And so there was a shutter issue, and I'm like, whatever. I still had a good time in the beginning. I was in the really kind of coffees and bookstores and cafes and also shopping just for stuff, food and everything. And that was kind of fun in the beginning. And my sister would come and we'd go out for dinner. It was quite nice. But I had to get up the courage to call him about the bed and say, it's really bad. Is there anything you can do about it? And I don't even know if the first time I called, I guess I only called once, if I already knew how dirty it was. Anyway, I did call, and he was so rude. He said, what is it now? So he said, yesterday it's the shutters, now it's the bed. I'm like, yeah, because the bed is terrible. I said, it's old, I can't sleep on it, it's very uncomfortable, I have back issues. And he was so unhelpful because he quickly went to him being the victim of, oh, now I have to go and look for a topper for you. I'm like, oh, you poor thing. How about I pay? I said to him, I paid good money for this place. And so we got into an altercation that deteriorated into ad hominem, more on his side than mine. I tried to be professional. I said, the only thing I said is, this is extremely unprofessional of you to be like this. You don't want to help me at all, apparently. And so then there was a bit of wondering what I sort of threatened to leave there already. I talked to Louis, like, should I just leave straight away? And I thought, no, the sofa was actually quite nice for a while. I didn't mind it so much. Sleeping out in the living room on their sofa, I would put the bedding from the bed on there. And I actually emailed him that saying, look, I'm just going to stay and sleep on the sofa, which is fine. And I think he thought, oh, good. Like, oh, good, I don't have to worry about her. She's just going to sleep on the sofa. But I got sick of the sofa. I just didn't like the sofa. I was a little bit afraid of it being not that clean either, even though I was putting stuff on it. I was just sick of sleep. I slept on the sofa the whole time I've been here, like weeks of me on a sofa, and I don't really do well on sofas as a person with severe stenosis. And so on Friday, things came to a sort of point where I decided, what the heck, I'm going to look around and see if I can find a room in either the hotel I'm going to anyway or this hotel. And on the websites, it wasn't clear that they had availability, but I thought, yeah, I know how it is. You just call them and see, and say you're, here. And I did with this one, and they're like, yeah, sure, we have something for that day, for Friday. This is Friday, the past Friday. Today's Monday, the 15th, I think. And so it was Friday, whatever that date was, the 12th, I think. Friday the 12th. And so I packed up all my stuff and moved out. And I moved into this, and then one last sort of bad thing, not so dire. First, I've been dealing with severe hyperhidrosis the whole time I've been here. I always do when I walk around and come to Germany. And I actually have done research that I think that lack of vitamin D might be one issue with that. So I want to maybe get some. I have it anyway. I mean, I don't know if all I know is that the deodorant that they sell you, the antiperspirant, they're really strong. That's supposed to help, doesn't help me because craniofacial hyperhidrosis is really resistant. It's really hard to stop. When you start dripping, so to speak, it's just awful. It's gotten worse, and I'll have to talk to my doctor about whatever the next step. So point being, the first room in this nice hotel was the AC was defect. It was not working. It was broken, defect. Sorry, that's German. So I brought up the courage there too to say, look, I really need a room where the AC works because of my issues. And so they moved me into this other really nice room. It's actually smaller, and I paid, apparently they only had big rooms first. So of course I paid for a big room, and now I'm in a small room. But I'm at this point kind of not really caring about the money differential for that. At this point, I really don't care. I've spent a lot of money anyway. But I think I'm okay now. But as I hope that gives you a sense of what's going on. But the big thing about not having a nice place to sleep and has been the main issue. And I had to take steroids, and my tummy's been a little bit upset, but it's fine now. I actually feel pretty good because I'm on steroids. And so I just wanted to sort of document all of the stuff that's happened. And now everything is sort of normal again. But because so many sort of slightly disruptively bad things have happened, I'm always sort of waiting for the next shoe to drop a little bit, which I shouldn't. I should just relax. And I'm pretty relaxed. But it's interesting. It's been an interesting trip because I'll walk outside and have little chats with people just because it happens. And even yesterday at the train station where they have a magazine shop, I walk in and the police talking to the lady, and just before that, someone had come in and robbed something from her store, and they were sort of not that nice to her. They were okay, and eventually they got her description and they went to the camera. But when I went up there, I said, I hope you're okay. Are you okay? And she says, I've been only working it 2 weeks. I'm still sweating. I'm like, oh, I know about sweating. I said, well, hope you calm down. The poor lady. I mean, she was just doing her work, keeping people come in all the time there. And I mean, I have a feeling, I don't think she should be there alone. It was not that late. It was maybe 7 o'clock or 6. It was between 6 and 7 p.m. And but still, I was like, I hope you're okay, because no one seemed to be caring about how she would. Even though, I mean, what happened was that the people had rubbed something, run out the couple, and she had run after them to get it. And then when I said that to her, she immediately said, "Well, basically, I'm new, and so I don't know if I did the right thing." So she was all, and she was appreciative, I think, of me asking after her. And I said, "Well, I hope you get to calm down, because it's like you gotta be. Does no one ask that, or why can't the police be a little bit friendly to her? You know, it's very like everyone here is very, oh, not everyone, but people are very much business only kind of, and to the point of being, to me, seeming a little bit brusque sometimes. But then when I notice that when I interact with them, they're really friendly and they seem to appreciate someone who's a little bit, and they say nice things to me, or they're very. It's a funny experience here. Plus the fact that it is very diverse. It's very there. It really is a multicultural place now. Wiesbaden, lots of people wearing head coverings. But they seem middle class, they're just part of the society. And then even when people who are not wearing hair coverings, all different, from everywhere. Europe, the whole world is here, which is different from where I'm from in Ohio, and I think it's good for me to see that. But it's as if, I don't know, there's a vibe here, which is interesting. It's probably just because it's urban. 20 minutes of me blabbing. Hope it was somewhat interesting, and I will report back. I have a book haul from my lovely trip to the bookstore, the secondhand bookstore, my favorite. And yeah, we're just going to keep on going. Everything's fine, and I'm fine here in my cute little room with a really nice bed and lots of food nearby, and Louise is close by, and we're going to do things, and I'm going to see my friend, and so all is well now. So hopefully all from here on out, smooth sailing. Bye. Thanks for listening to me blab. Hello. I wanted to add one thing that I sort of just barely mentioned, but it was actually quite disruptive. In a way, it was the most disruptive thing, was the luggage issue. So we arrived in our room on Wednesday, and I had already submitted a lost luggage claim, and the amount of calling and just back and forth to get the bag was insane. I had to call almost and you're in holiday mode. You don't want to deal with United and figuring out which United to call. The one in Germany, the one. I mean, I placed so many calls, including to the people in the trucks bringing the luggage. Oh, it was awful. I mean, it was just something you don't want to deal with. And of course, the most important thing I had to deal with was I had to run out and buy clothes. And I'm glad I got quite a few, for which I did get money quite quickly. Actually, that's good. But I went to one store I like called C&A. It's normal clothes, but they're a little bit better. They're a little fair tradey, and not really, but they're a little bit more than other places. And so I got a whole sort of substitute wardrobe, including what I had to wear at my sister's party, because it didn't come because of the different itinerary that it had been on. It was stuck in Chicago for a long time, and it sort of didn't make it on the one trip. And then I called, and I finally kind of got confirmation that it was on a plane on its own, poor little suitcase, and it made it to Frankfurt. And then what happened was, for a whole day before, like it was before a holiday or something, or maybe it was Friday, they threatened to be bringing it on the truck, and I would go and stand there, and it never came. And so I had to call again and again. And I got through to someone who at United, who got through to the people in Frankfurt and said, why is this not being delivered? And I'm not sure exactly what the excuse was, but then I had the whole weekend without it again. And then I think it came on Tuesday, and then so it came at about almost midnight on Tuesday, and I'd been there since Wednesday, so almost a week. And I opened it and was fine, except my most beloved pair of Z-coil shoes, the sort of gym shoe ones, the more for hiking, for actual walking, not just slip-ons, were missing and have gone. Someone took them. They were not packed in any special way. They were just shoved in there. And they probably just realized that I looked in Germany, just to see how much they are, quite a bit, because I don't think you can get them here. I don't know who took them, but someone took my shoes, and someone actually took my little cheap container of my very cheap, nice cheap earrings. I just took those two things. I'm pretty sure I packed it. I mean, maybe it's still at home. I don't think so. I think they took my earrings and my shoes. That's all. They didn't take anything else. Thank goodness. But so, and I've talked to United there too, that if I can get back to my computer and can call up a proof that I purchased these shoes, they'll give me that money back. Because they just called me to see why, I need to submit proof of purchase. And I can't do that here very easily. So that was kind of a bummer too, that I had to wait. I've never had to wait that long for luggage. And the only reason I checked it was because of the shoes, because they're heavy and I need good shoe work for my issues that I have. And so the upshot of that is don't check luggage. I rarely do check luggage, but this was I'm here for 7 weeks, and I thought usually nothing happens. Little did you know that all these things would happen, so that's why I didn't have my luggage for that. So now I have it, and everything is fine there too. So that was the last bad thing that I just wanted to make sure I have that in there too, on top of all the bad stuff. And the stuff with the guy is every interaction with him is being unpleasant and unhelpful. And I actually do know who owns the apartment, and that person, I can contact them. I don't know them, of course. Well, I don't know hedge fund managers, but I know who he is. He's quite a public person. I could email him and say, look, the people who's in charge of this one apartment are very, very dismissive and rude, and I don't think you should know that. Maybe he knows it. He probably doesn't care. Although, I don't know. We'll see. So he might be getting some kind of message from me at some point. I don't know. I feel like a student going to the dean, which is ridiculous. Because, it's about health and standards and stuff like that. Let's see, is that it? I just want to make sure I don't forget anything else. Maybe I should make another video about all the nice things that have happened. But I might do that too, because there have been plenty of those too. So that's good. Anyway, bye-bye for now, for sure. Sorry.